in the gray hymnal to number 395 for our first round this morning, Sing and Rejoice. Number 395. Sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice, let all things living now sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice, let all things living now sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice.
Good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Ann Arbor, and happy Earth Day. I'm the Reverend Cassandra Hartley, and I have the honor of serving this congregation as executive minister. I'm joined today by the Reverend Manish Mishra-Marzetti, our senior minister, the Reverend Theresa Rohlck, the director of our Chalice Bells and our Congregational Chaplain, Carter Smith, our acting director of Music Ministries, Stella Anderson, our acting director of Spiritual Growth and Development, Allison Halerz, our Pianist-in-Residence, Mike Halerz, our technology consultant, and as you've just heard, the wonderful talents of our Chalice Bells, and a special thank you to Don McCluskey, who's joining us for percussion. If you're new to our congregation, we are so grateful that you have trusted us with the gift of your time and presence. If you'd like to learn more about us, you can join us for a special newcomers welcome in the Jackson Chapel, which is just outside these double doors. It's an opportunity to get to know us, ask questions, and for us to get to know you better. If you're new and joining us online, we hope that you'll take a moment to introduce yourself in the chat so that we can greet you. And if you want to get more deeply connected to our congregation, you can take a survey at uuaa.org/newcomersurvey. Whether you're a newcomer or a long-timer or something in between, we're so grateful that you've joined us for this sacred time together, especially on this day, our first in-person multi-generational Earth Day service since before the pandemic. It's such a joy to be reunited with our children and teens in one space again. The celebration doesn't end with our service, though. It continues on after this service with a Sunday Fun Day event for all ages. It's a chance to engage in some Earth Day activities out on the back lawn, and thankfully the weather has cooperated with us. And it's a chance to eat some Earth Sundays, so you'll have to come and find out what that is. Our Earth Day celebration also continues with a screening of the documentary Youth v. Gov at 2 p.m. on Zoom. This climate change superhero movie follows the true story of 21 courageous youth who are suing to protect their constitutional rights to life, liberty, and property. The Zoom link for the event can be found in the weekly news or in our community Facebook group. Next Sunday, May 1st, we will have yet another special all-ages gathering after both services. But this gathering will be bittersweet because we are honoring the dedication of our building manager, Don Hackney, as he transitions out of his role. Please join us for special refreshments and a chance to show our gratitude to Don for all he's done for our community. I know I am going to miss Don more than I can say. I'm going to try to save all my tears for next Sunday because there will be many. But I especially will miss his warm smile and kindness week after week. He, like every member of our staff team, has given so much to serve this community. And of course, the pandemic added more challenges and changes than we ever could have imagined back in March of 2020. One of the many challenges we faced was honoring another staff member, Theresa rohlck, as she became the Reverend Theresa rohlck. This congregation had the great honor of ordaining Reverend Theresa on April 26, 2020. But suddenly we found ourselves trying to figure out how to do a ceremony in the midst of a shutdown. An ordination is supposed to be one of the most important days of a minister's life. Colleagues and loved ones normally fly or drive from across the country to attend, and the whole community gathers for a day filled with celebration and sacred rituals. We had to shift all of this online and find new ways to celebrate, but our community was up to the challenge. The online celebration was beautiful, thanks in no small part to the Reverend Theresa herself and all the gifts she brings to ministry. There was one piece of the ceremony, however, that we could not easily do online, and that was the presentation of a stole on behalf of the congregation. A stole represents the yoke of ministry, the burden of service that ministers willingly take on. And the first stole a minister is presented with during their ordination is very special. So as we approach the second anniversary of Reverend Theresa's ordination, it's fitting that now we can finally officially present it to her in person and honor the artistry of it together. Reverend Theresa's stole was designed by our fellow community member and fabric artist, Betsy Price. So, thank you. Yes, thank you to Betsy. I'd like to invite her forward now to tell us a little bit about the symbolism of the stole and how it came to be.
Hi, I'm a longtime friend of Theresa's, and when she started to talk about being ordained, I thought, ooh, time for a stole. And I contacted choir members and bell choir people because she's so involved in the music ministries here. And I said that I would like to collect, well, okay, put that on hold, please. Then Theresa met with me, and we had been exchanging ideas for what stole design she might like, and there are a zillion. And we were talking back and forth and back, and I'm talking about a long time, weeks maybe. And finally I said, Theresa, do you trust me? And she said, yes. And I said, okay, see ya, because we had been planning this. And so I asked, not Theresa, but choir members and I. So I asked choir members to contribute fabric or beads if they wished, and I had a secret box in the coat closet out there that she would not see, but that choir members could drop fabric or beads into. And so I told the choir members that that would happen, and about 2 days later, COVID lockdown of the building happened, so the box with samples was here, and the building was locked. So St. Don Hackney, whom Cassie just membered, our building manager, met me here, unlocked the building. I got the beads and the fabric and got out of there and proceeded to make this with birds to represent songbirds, because that's our Theresa. So, so then the presentation, because it was COVID, I couldn't do it in here. We were not meeting. And so Theresa came and stood on our porch on the steps, and I had hung this over a light fixture, and that was our very special regal presentation. And so now it is my honor to present this to Theresa.
What a beautiful thing it is to honor your ordination anniversary today, Theresa. I'm so glad we could do that and honor the light that is your ministry, the way in which you bring possibility and love and caring alive for all of us in our community. Thank you for all of who you are and all of what you do. Speaking of light, you have a tradition of lighting a chalice at the beginning of our gatherings, any of our gatherings. We're actually going to invite up any little one, any kid who's in kindergarten or first grade. You can come up by yourself or with a caregiver. If you're in kindergarten or first grade, come on up and join us. And we'll help you too once you're up here. The chalice, as we know, in Unitarian Universalism, we light it at the beginning of our time together on Sundays, but also other gatherings. And the flame represents the spark of love, of possibility, of wisdom that resides inside each and every one of us. Would we join together in our familiar words of chalice lighting as our younger community members help us light our chalice? We light this chalice for the light of truth. We light this chalice for the warmth of love. We light this chalice for the energy of action. We light this chalice for the harmony of peace. Thank you so much. We are a community that does not gather around shared dogmatic beliefs, but rather our commitments that we willingly, voluntarily offer to one another about how we will be in community together, how we will journey together as our individual lives unfold. It's in that spirit that we offer the words of our community's covenant to one another. Would you now join me in these familiar words, these commitments and promises that we make to each other? The spirit of this church is love, and service is its law. This is our covenant with each other, to dwell together in peace, to search for truth in love, and to help one another. May it be so. And on this Sunday in which we are reminding each other of the various ways we're in community together, the people who help us in our communal life together, I want to just take a moment to note that this past week we shared some important staffing updates via our electronic communications with the whole community. That update contains some detailed information about an assessment process that we engaged in this winter and spring around our 2 acting director positions. I encourage all community members to please take a close look at that message, as there's a lot of useful information in it. For now, very briefly, I'll just share that we are delighted that Carter Smith will be with us for a 2nd year as acting director of Music Ministries. Thank you, Carter, for your willingness to journey with us in a 2nd transitional year as you share your gifts as a music educator and all the skillful ways that you have been. We're looking forward to another year of deepening and learning side by side with you. Thank you for that. And as our community moves into the next congregational year, we will engage in a search process in the first half of 2023 to more permanently staff this position. I'm also delighted to share that another staff member, Stella Anderson, Stella's title as of May 1st, just a handful of days, will shift from Acting Director of Spiritual Growth and Development to Director of Spiritual Growth and Development. It has been such a joy to watch Stella blossom into this role of spiritual companionship and leadership in our community, sharing with us her wisdom and her love and her caring for our children, for our teens, for our families, and truly for all of us, as she has been doing in the time that she's been in the job. Just delighted that we'll have you as an ongoing staff colleague, Stella. Thank you for your yes and your commitment to UUAA. Let us now continue this time of deepening and renewal together.
Thank you, everybody. It's such an honor to be here. And my heart is full seeing all the kids. Our children's section is overflowing. So it just makes me happy. Our story today comes from a UU minister, poet, and religious educator. We are all of us, every one, made of stardust. This is our origin story. The Everything Seed, a story of beginnings by Carole Martignacco, illustrated by Joy Troyer. Have you ever watched a seed grow? Have you ever noticed how it begins, so small, so still, so quiet, like a gift wanting to be opened? And how slowly it wakes up, begins to unfold, growing into something larger and larger and larger? Then you know that whatever comes from a seed usually ends up looking very little like the seed it came from, which is also true of the very first seed. Once, long, long ago, way back before the beginning, so long ago there was no such thing as time, because there was no one there to count it. Everywhere was a huge, deep, mysterious place, like something waiting to happen. There were no stars, no sun or moon. There was no place like Earth, not a drop of water, or a single tree, or a rock, or flower, and no living beings anywhere. But in that deep, waiting space was hidden the tiniest point of something no bigger than a seed. It was not a flower seed. It was not an elm tree seed. It was not a seed of corn, although all of those things were included in the seed. You might call it an everything seed, because that is what it became. No one knows where that first seed came from, or how it was planted, or how it knew, in the way that only seeds seem to know, how long to wait for just the right moment to sprout and grow. But all at once, this tiny seed, cradled and nourished in the rich soil of space, woke up, broke open, and began to unfold, unfolding, unfolding, and blossoming forth into an enormous, blazing ball of bright light, like a great grandmother's sun. And the universe was born. Out fluttered the galaxies like a storm of snowflakes swirling and gathering into the brightest, most blindingly beautiful cloud of stars. And out of those star clouds whirled our very own star, the one we call the sun, and our Earth, and the moon, and all the round spinning planets we have learned how to name. And this is the secret of that tiny seed. You and I were there in the very beginning. Just as the idea for each leaf on a big oak tree lies hidden inside an acorn. We were there with all the stars and planets, all the rocks and oceans, plants and animals and people. Everything that is now ever was or ever will be was inside that first tiny seed. So whenever you hold a seed in your hand and wonder what it could become, imagine how you and all that is here once came from the tiniest speck of an everything seed before it sprouted and grew long, long ago in the way back beginning of time. Now, if this were an ordinary story, it would end right here. But this story of the universe keeps unfolding. What once began in a blazing blossom of light continues every day. New stars sprout open in the deep soil of space. New plants and animals appear on the earth. Seeds of many kinds are scattered everywhere. To help us remember. And new people are born every day with the spark of that first light still alive and burning deep inside, waiting. Like the everything seed, to shine in ways that are yet to be known. The end. Reverend Carole tells us in her author's note, beyond renewed wonder and awe at the unfathomable inventions of nature, such as seeds, the central truth of the story is this: everything here is radically related. We are all caught up in an exquisite dynamic of interdependence. To know this at a heart level and to live into it with deep reverence is my hope for us all. Seeds are indeed magical, and so are all the other things that seeds need to germinate and produce new seeds and new life. They need the right temperature, they need moisture, they need air, and they need light. They need minerals and nutrients, they need organic matter, and they need dirt. We need these things too. As we consider the importance of dirt in the lifeblood of our planet, so too should we reflect on what our spirits need to survive and thrive. The cycle of life includes letting go of that which you no longer need and feeding that which gives you energy and purpose and joy. As we reflect on our relationship with the earth, ask yourself, what will you compost? What will you grow? I invite you to hold these questions as we journey together this morning.
The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, return, 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 return. The earth, the water, the
Each week, one of the important spiritual practices that we return to again and again is collecting an offering. An offering is a reminder that when each of us gives of our time, energy, money, talents, and presence, we can create a community that can do so much more together than we ever could alone. If you'd like to give to support the work of this congregation, you can text UUAA to 73256. You can go to uuaa.org/giving. Or, of course, you can leave cash or checks in the baskets as they pass by. As our ushers come forward to collect this morning's offering, may we give to model the best of community for our youngest members. And I hope that you'll enjoy some images that you all have shared of some of your favorite places in nature as we pass our baskets. Our offering will now be gratefully given and received. I'd like our ushers to come forward now with this morning's offering. And as they do, I invite you to rise in body or in spirit. Together, let us say the words of our dedication. To the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives, and these are offerings. Thank you.
I want to thank Joy Berry, a very wise and talented religious educator who has graciously given me permission to adapt her Ode to Dirt. The oldest stories tell us we came from the dust, and to dust we will return. But dirt? That's different. Dust is fine and delicate. It swirls through the air when the sun shines in through the windows, almost like magic. My kids call it fairy dust. Dirt, on the other hand, is messier. It has a smell and a feel, and it's made of all sorts of stuff we don't like to think about. The most important part of dirt, and what makes it more than just bits of clay and sand and dust, is life and death. Organic matter from dead things like leaves and roots and bugs and larger animals too make up the actual good stuff in dirt. Nothing would grow in bits of sand and clay and dust without organic matter from things that were once alive. As they decay and break down, they release vital nutrients and make what we call soil, and soil makes new life possible. And living creatures play another important role. Animals like moles, grubs, and earthworms move dirt around, putting air and more organic matter, the scientific name of which is, oh right, poop, into the dirt as they go about their business, tunneling and growing under our feet. There's a whole plumbing infrastructure happening down there. And we sort of don't like all this messiness. We can accept that we came from the earth, and to earth we shall return. Ashes and dust and stone and earth, those sound mythical and biblical and storied. But dirt's just common and kind of gross. The stuff that makes dirt dirt makes us a little squeamish. Even the word itself is harsh and aggressive. Dirt. Dirt is something to avoid, to wash off, to keep out of our clean and sanitized indoor spaces and off of our clean and sanitized bodies. We're taught from childhood not to get dirty, even as our parents throw us outdoors, literally into the dirt. Whose grown-ups got mad when you came in from playing with dirty hands and feet? Or tracked dirt from your shoes across the clean floor? It's straight into the bath for you. Any kids here have parents that tell them to go out and get dirty? I expected some yeses. We've got more than a few hippies in our UU circles. Parents, what does it mean if you show up with an unwashed child? What on earth will people say? Haven't we all learned that cleanliness is next to godliness? Dirt is loaded with judgment. Consider all the ways we use the word in our daily lives. Let's start with dirty jobs. We say someone has a white-collar job if they don't get dirty while they work, and a black or a brown-collar job if they do. Which one do you think pays more? We talk about dirty money from ill-begotten underground means. We used to wash kids' mouths out with soap if they said a dirty word. Nowadays, we have swear jars. If somebody has a dirty mouth, a dirty mind, or dirty hands, that means they've said something, thought something, or done something wrong. And if you have the dirt on someone, that means you know what it was. We've got Dirty Harry, Dirty John, and Dirty Dancing. And what about dirt poor? Our words reflect a deep discomfort with the stuff, even though we are dirt, and dirt is us. We have some work to do around the moral value of dirt. It is the source of everything, and yet we like to pretend that it has nothing to do with us. Did you know there are only a few feet of dirt on this whole earth? You don't have to dig down very far before you hit solid bedrock. In the northeast part of our country, the land was notoriously riddled with huge stones, making it hard to farm. Glaciers that receded at the end of the last ice age left behind millions of tons of stones, and our industrious ancestors dug them out and built thousands of miles of stone walls that wind and weave across the landscapes of New England. There are estimates that if you put all of those walls in a line, it would circle the earth 4 times. Every season, as the ground shifted, new stones migrated to the surface. According to author Susan Alport, people in the Northeast thought that the devil had put them there. They just kept coming. And we kept digging them out so that we could plant and survive and thrive. Every terrestrial plant, from moss and ferns to potatoes and carrots, from dandelions and roses to kale and blackberries, from the oaks and maples and pines here in Treetown to the redwood forests in California, all depend on dirt. Arborist William Bryant Logan calls it the ecstatic skin of the earth. And yet we treat it like, well, dirt. We spray it with pesticides and we work it to death, and we drench it with antibacterial chemicals and toxins that kill the parts of soil that make it alive. But that can all change. We just need a new story. We're learning every day about all the ways that dirt is good for us, not just while it grows our food or supports our trees and root systems, but nourishing and life-sustaining like sunshine and water and human touch. It turns out that children who get dirtier have less allergies and less asthma as they grow. Kids that grow up on farms are often healthier. Have you ever seen a toddler eating dirt when you put them down outside? Is your instinct to wipe their hands and mouths with an antibacterial wipe? I learned about something called the hygiene hypothesis. It turns out that in our very rational desire to conquer infectious diseases like cholera and dysentery, we have over-sanitized our outsides and our insides, messing up our microbiomes. Dirt, it turns out, creates balance and equilibrium. Any gardeners here with us today? I know that people love to garden, not just for the outcome, but for the process itself. How many of you actually wear gloves when you do it? We're finding out now that exposure to dirt actually increases your serotonin levels because dirt has a friendly bacteria in it that acts as a natural antidepressant. So dirt really can make us happier and healthier. It's good for us, like church. Here's a tougher question. Are we good for dirt? Do we make dirt happier and healthier? Our seventh principle instructs us to honor the interdependent web of existence, and that assumes a mutually beneficial relationship, right? We could spend a year's worth of Sundays talking about all the damage that we've inflicted upon the environment. But for this Sunday, I just want to make a simple suggestion on behalf of our Loamy friend. Let dirt rest. Sometimes the best thing we can do for the earth is nothing. We have some very nice communions in this denomination. Water communion and flower communion come to mind. They're beautiful and meaningful in our faith. But it's time we lead the way as the heretics we Unitarian Universalists are known to be in creating a dirt communion. Dirt happens. Dirt is inevitable, especially when you live a life joyfully, voraciously, authentically, and mindfully. Dirt happens when you're too busy gathering together, cooking food, loving your neighbors, playing with your children and grandchildren, dancing, and making art and music to keep every corner spotless every moment of the day. We knock it off our shoes, we wash it off our faces, we sweep it off the floors, but it's a part of us, and it should be. It's too powerful a thing to ignore and dismiss. Dirt is foundational. We are a faith that says, come, come, whoever you are. Bring your imperfection. Bring your truest, most authentic self. Bring your dirt. We've all got it. It's part of what makes us whole human beings worthy of love and connection. Today, many of you have brought a little bit of your dirt, a little bit of the soil where you find your peace, find your power, and find your joy. Maybe it's from your garden, or from your playground, or from your favorite hiking trail. And maybe it's from the resting place of someone or something you loved. There's power in all of that. As you pour your dirt into the communal pots, reflect on what you want to compost and what you want to grow. I want to invite you now to come down and share your dirt with this community of faith and good works, and trust that we will do something miraculous and transformative with it. Please join us now on our very first dirt communion. We'll go row by row from the back to the front. Please come down the middle aisle and then exit out the side. And if you need dirt, we have some waiting for you in the small pots. And for those of you joining us remotely, I invite you to hold your bit of dirt in your hands, feel it on your fingers, breathe in its earthy scent, and think about its life-giving properties.
you're coming forward, I invite you to turn in the teal hymnal to number 1007, 1007, There's a River Flowing in My Soul. Number 1007. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a
for those of you worshiping with us from afar, these communal pots will be outside on the walkway to the main entrance for the next week, if you would like to come and add your dirt. Thankfully, we don't have to worry about the weather. If it rains, all the better. This dirt we have gathered together today, filled with metaphorical compost and seeds, will live in our outdoor spaces and be a blessing to us always. For each phrase, I'll indicate to you, and we can all say together, we bless this dirt. In the knowledge that we are all of us imperfect, but come together in communities of grace, we bless this dirt. In the faith that what we compost will lead to new life and what we grow will open up new possibilities, we bless this dirt. In the belief that we humans share an origin and a common destiny, we bless this dirt. In a sustaining faith in human redemption and growth, we bless this dirt. In the wisdom of science that tells us dirt is an important part of our own health and happiness, we bless this dirt. In understanding that all living creatures are connected and have a right to healthy earth, we bless this dirt. In hopes that we all continue to grow together in mind, body, and spirit, we bless this dirt. Thank you.
And now I invite you to rise in body or spirit as we join together in singing number 1030 from the Teal hymnal, Siyahamba, number 1030. We are planting in the light of God. 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 We are planting. We are planting in the light of God. We are planting. We are growing, we are growing in the light of God. 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 We are growing. We are growing in the light of God. We are growing. Siyahamba, Siyahamba kukanyen kwento, Siyahamba kukanyen kwento, Siyahamba kukanyen kwento, Siyahamba kukanyen kwento, Siyahamba, Siyahamba kukanyen kwento, Siyahamba.
My friends, today in honor of Earth Day, I have one request. Go get dirty. Put your hands into the dirt. Feel it underneath your fingernails. If you're gardening, go without gloves. Inhale its complex fragrance. I dare say, take a little taste. Go barefoot. Let the grass and dirt cling to your feet. Laugh and dance and give thanks for the earth that nourishes us, our bodies and minds and spirits and souls. Go forth and live into the richness of our miraculous world. Amen.